go. 5, 4, and welcome back, everybody. This is Old Bob 10025 with the First Circuit podcast number 28. Wow, 28 gate, 28 podcast. That's actually pretty nice. I like that. So just let everyone know what the topics are tonight. Is the Black Lanner. We'll be talking about that. We talk about the Black Lanner Challenge. We'll also be talking about the Battletech game from Harebrained Schemes. The question and answer they had on February 14th. We'll be talking about salvage time. Time is money. And we might be talking about game nodes. Not sure about that. Depends on time wise. So first off, let's go hear a word from our sponsor.
Well, today's sponsor is actually really close to my heart. Some of you might know, some years ago one of my older brothers ended up getting heavily wounded in a heroic fight against some Dragonian scum. He basically lost most of his right arm. But thanks to our gracious first prince and our amazing scientists at the new Avalon Institute of Science, he got back into the cockpit within less than half a year. And not only that, he even got an upgrade. Imagine being able to shoot bubblegum at your annoying little sister with a slingshot built into your hand. So, if you're looking for the perfect place to get your high-end cybernetics, look no further. The new Avalon Institute of Science is where you want to go. And with that, back to our hosts.
Thank you for that sponsorship. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, NAIS, for the sponsor. So, first off, we have the Black Lanner. We'll be talking about the thoughts, the different aspects of it, and builds if we can. So, we're gonna go lead this off to Biter. So, Biter, let's go with you. What's your overall impression of the Black Lanner?
So yeah, it's just me and Ian who have got the Black Lanner. I've had a lot of fun thus far. Haven't played it too much. I haven't been playing much this week, but the tonnage is indeed extremely limited, and the survival quirks are a bit more tepid than I was hoping for. However, making use of the weapon quirks that is been given quite liberally to it can lead to quite some fun shenanigans if you can find just the right build that fits your playstyle and fits the hard points of the mech.
Okay, cool. That's actually. How about some builds for it though?
So naturally, I had to try and recreate my Shadow Cat since it's very similar somewhat to the mindset of a Shadow Cat, with the Belisarius, the hero, 6 machine guns, heavy, large, and narc. Lots of scratching people at long range and narking them, and then jumping in with machine guns once there's a nice squishy target available. And I've been having great fun with the Prime as well, which has been an interesting contender because that one, with its Omnipod set bonus, I can do Streak 12 plus 3 ER smalls and streak people at 400 meters, possibly 425-ish meters.
Oh, that's cool. How about the survivability as far as like it's a fast mech. Obviously, it goes take 150 with the mask, right? So the survivability, is it frontline? Is it a plug a hole mech? Is it like what type of mech like would it be?
You typically want to somewhat skirmish with the thing. You don't. You want to avoid getting hit as much as possible because you have basically the loadout of a light in terms of total tonnage, and as such, it's going to take you a lot of times hitting the enemy before they actually, really feel the pain. So if somebody starts shooting back at you, you're actually going to lose that, that trade, quote unquote. So you need to keep winning trades by, taking one-sided engagements where you poke up from a hill, they aren't looking that way, you give them a good smack, and then you run back down.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly they're light eaters as well. I've been hearing
really?
a lot about that, about how, well, I mean, they can keep pace with an Arctic cheetah and do some real damage, because an Arctic cheetah isn't going to be able to take down a 55-tonner that can move at the same speed it can, even if the loadout is relatively weak for a medium.
I'd say it really depends on the loadout. That's the biggest thing, is what kind of playstyle you're trying to chuck into the Black Lanner. All the Black Lanners have a universal 10% range quirk, which is only somewhat useful with certain weapon systems. Like a lot of them have missile hardpoints and missile quirks, but LRMs, ATMs, SRMs, narcs even, they all don't really benefit, but streaks love extra range. And as for range in regards to laser weapons, your flamers and micro lasers, or small pulse lasers or whatever, do not really care much about an extra 10%. It's nice, but it's nothing amazing. Whereas if you're using medium lasers or heavy lasers or anything like that, the bigger ones, reaching out an extra 10% is actually pretty neat for keeping your distance from the enemy. You kind of have to play like an Uziel if you're doing laser vomit.
Oh yeah, I like the Uziel.
So as
That
for
was
light
actually nice.
chasing, most of my Black Lanners, whilst they can sort of chase a light a bit, I wouldn't want to fully engage. If I'm against something like a Wolfhound with, its 6 medium pulse lasers, he's got way more fire, pinpoint firepower than I do, because I'll be taking, sort of as I said, the hero mech is long range scratch, then pounce on somebody with machine guns mech. It's got less machine guns than the Piranha. It's only got heavy larges.
Yeah.
Its main damage weapon. So obviously, I'm not actually going to best any lights anytime soon. And yeah, you can take all point blank brawl and out best lights in a close quarters engagement, but for the most part, the Lanner wants to keep its distance. The Lanner wants to keep poking at range, and that means actually I've seen a lot of Lanners get chased down by mediums and lights because they're just so sort of clunky and awkward and not able to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of clunky and awkward, I could maybe take over here and give my general impressions. When I first piloted the Black Lanner, I took one of the stock loaders in the game. My first thought was, well, this is exactly like the stock Osiris I played a couple months ago. And I'm still kind of sticking with that. In my opinion, the Black Lanner is too squishy for its size, especially looking at the side torso. I get those blown off immediately every game, especially when I'm up against something like the standard laser vomit. So what I've noticed is that the Black Lanner, for me personally, dies too quickly. And at the same time, it's really quick if you're running in a straight line, but I'm personally having issues turning it. So maybe I'm just missing the skills here. Maybe it's just that my joystick doesn't move anymore. But those are the two main issues I've found. That and the fact that the ballistic hardpoints, which actually would make the Black Lanner a lot more fun with machine guns, those are locked behind an additional paywall, which I didn't penetrate yet.
Yeah, that does kind of suck. I'm looking at it now, and that's that's D, and then also that's the hero, basically. So yeah, that would kind of suck though. Now when it does come out though for C bills, will you be able to go purchase the hero like Omnipods?
You
later on?
can't purchase hero Omnipods.
Okay.
Even if it comes out for C-bills. But
Okay.
the big thing, at least with the Black Lanner in terms of hardpoint distribution, is it's very spartan on the torsos. So if you're a C-bill owner, all you can do is 2 missile and 1 energy and the side torsos. That's it. Whereas even if you really want those hero ballistic hardpoints, you've only got 3 hardpoints to work with other than those 6 machine guns. And it's a bit hard to find something that really complements 6 machine guns when those 6 machine guns and their ammo, of course, takes up tonnage, and missiles are quite heavy. It's really hard to fit anything in on top of the hero. So I don't think that's necessarily too bad. Whereas like the 2 energy, 2 ballistic is a lot more balanced and means you can do a lot more with the arms, because the arms are the majority of the hard points are somewhat located, at least for energy boats and such, or doing some dackering with the machine guns.
So the problem is like the pod space then, right?
Well, it's got a couple of major issues. Is one, yes, the incredibly limited pod space. It's something around 12 tons or so. So you could fit in a UAC 20 with no ammo using those ballistic hardpoints, though obviously that's hardly worth it. The other issue, as I said, there is hardly any hardpoints in the torsos, so you're usually stuck fitting stuff into the arms, and the arms never have lower arm actuators. So even though it's really fast, it's not able to shoot over its shoulder or anything like that. It's quite a little clunky in that regard.
And so it has problems like over on mountains and stuff like that. Yeah,
It's really hard finding, the biggest thing is at least finding a loadout that can actually fit in the thing and that suits your playstyle and can actually get some work done. Like as I made a point of earlier, the big thing that it is a universal 10% range, and they have a lot of missile hard points, at least in the side torsos. And naturally, therefore, I said, well, I saw Ian was running a lot of ATMs in his linebackers, at least when we played a little earlier today, and I was like, well,
Yep.
that's not really making much use of the range quirk. Like, at least since you're not really planning to fire at max range plus 10%.
Well, granted, I never really look at the quirks.
Yeah, but streaks at least, but like streaks really benefit from the extra range. However, they're really heavy, and that's at least relatively heavy. Fitting into streak 12 is 6 tons. That's half my allotment, and I haven't even put ammo in the thing yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's why at least I've said I found the Prime quite fun, because that's got the 10% cooldown plus the 10% range plus 10% velocity, I guess, for the Streak 12, which makes the Streak 12 not half bad. At least once I've got the speed, I can go running around, shooing away like mechs and just, slowly, dealing damage to enemies over time with some small lasers as well. It's actually worked as quite a good screening mech in that role, being really fast with some really good worked missile launch, missile hardpoints. Otherwise, I've seen people use laser vomit, just a whole bunch of medium lasers, like 5 heavy mediums, 4 regular mediums, whatever, and
Yay.
it gets the job done-ish. You don't have much tonnage for any additional heat sinks, but you got some.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and go on. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
So I think I would say this sort of falls into an extreme niche, a bit like the Shadow Cat can do some really funky things, but it has a very limited number of hard points it can actually put anything in. The Black Lanner has plenty of energy hard points, but no real tonnage to make anything really work, or at least even less tonnage than the Shadow Cat, as well as being ground bound. So just like how, if you put your Shadow Cat into the hands of just the right pilot, they could make a really interesting build and, make that mech sing. The Black Lanner is almost a more extreme case of that kind of mech. That you've got very awkward hardpoints to sort of play with. You haven't got the lower arm actuator to even, consider, and even less tonnage. So for me, someone who really loves Shadow Cats, the Black Lanner is just more of that, and I've been having great fun with it. But I think, just like with the Shadow Cat, it sort of will drop out of favor over time because a lot of people don't really fit into that playstyle, into that mech very well. And otherwise, like those who do take it out, just do something brilliantly inspired, like 2 PPCs. Woo!
Well, a lot
Except
of people do
they
that kind of stuff.
overheat like crazy and do basically no damage, making them a non-participant. But yeah.
Yeah. So like basically like go ahead and let you. I was just gonna mention something.
I was gonna talk about maybe what PGI could do to make the Black Lanner go more into favor than what we expected to happen right now. And I got 2 ideas. So the first we kind of already mentioned, basically turn it into a mini linebacker by increasing the survival quirks. That's basically the easy way to quote-unquote fix the Black Lanner as it stands right now. The other thing, though, would be kind of more interesting if you actually increase the ground-bound mobility by, for example, upping the turn rate and turning it into a real confused medium. I want to be light mech, so to say. What do you think about that, Bida?
In terms of baseline agility, this thing has a similar kind of level as in a Sphere 50 tonner, which is still actually quite good for a Lanner. It's got basically the same agility as a Shadow Cat, except for deceleration. It turns just as well as a Shadow Cat does. Personally, at least, the way it sort of plays, particularly with the lack of lower arm actuators, means you don't really want to be trying to turn around lots of corners and all that stuff anyway. It's a forwards and backwards kind of mech, rather than I don't think turn rate is really what it needs. And when you're using Mask, it has a very ample acceleration as it is anyway.
Yeah, the mask makes it 150 as a really nice light fighter, basically. That works out pretty well.
I mean, it can do light speeds for a short duration.
Yeah.
The issue is of at least trying to bring enough firepower to the table and to be able to best a light when a light is, even if I've got speed, a light can more often dictate the terms of battle. So if there's a large laser sniper Arctic cheetah, yes, I'm faster than him, but I have a long approach to get to him, and he's going to be running away and jumping over hills. I can't jump over hills. It's going to take me a while to catch up to him. He's going to run and rejoin his team, and then suddenly I'm a kind of fast, big, giant guy in the middle of nowhere. So I'm not going to beat the sniper. If I'm going to try and beat the brawler, I better damn well have a better brawler build.
Yeah.
And even then, the brawler can run away and choose just the right hill where his better agility and smaller size can, peek and snipe and trade. So against a good light pilot, the Black Lanner could still honestly quite struggle because, again, with the no lower arm actuators, it's not as nimble to quickly turn and snipe a light as it runs past it. So a good light pilot's going to be able to run circles around the Black Lanner. It's going to be able to choose its engagements a lot easier than the Black Lanner does, which is why I think the Black Lanner, particularly with that 10% range, is much more about just, zoning parts of the battlefield and poking and trading and sniping like that, rather than trying to, take the engagement and, force people to be taken down. Like, if you really want to be a light killer or something like that, I don't know, like, why not just take an assassin with a really fast engine, some streak 4s, or just even the SRM 4s or whatever, and just pinpoint people with that.
Now, like, do you think it'll be like the Blood Ass, where just take the omnipods and make it into I think it was the first one where it has the top mounted Gauss cannons, basic ballistic wise, and just stick with the prime, and just kind of do that kind of thing.
So with the Blood Earth, as I said before, the Gauss and the side torsos isn't that welcome, at least since that makes the mech a lot more squishier.
Yeah.
Obviously, though, yeah, you do want ECM. ECM is quite valuable, but again, you have such a limited pod space. 1 ton to ECM is actually quite a big deal for the poor Black Lanner. I just personally, at least, I look at the quirks and try and play into them a bit to try and make a kind of awkward build really come out and shine. And that's what it said with the Prime, at least, was I'm knocking off 0.6 seconds off my streak 6s, and those streak 6s are reaching really far.
Yeah.
And that's worked out quite well. So I don't know, like the quirks for the energy boat ones are not that good, so there's no point keeping omnipods. And I think most people are most at home with the laser vote version of the Black Lanner. I don't see a lot of people who are really at home with streaks or usually think of taking streaks. So that's going to just be my little niche, I think.
I actually like streaks.
I
to tell you
mean,
the truth.
if you go in scouting, you'll find a lot of people who are comfortable with streaks.
Yeah, yeah, true.
I mean, yeah. It'll be rare to find a player who's not comfortable with streaks in scouting.
Yeah, though if you're going scouting, you don't really necessarily want to bring the Black Lanner.
No Lanner for scouting.
That was my next question, actually. Like, should you bring it into scouting matches?
Like, a Kintaro will eat that shit in about 2 seconds.
Well, the thing with the Black Lanner is it has got that speed, so it is able to keep the distance with from the inner sphere, and it has the 10% range bonus, which means it's better able to snipe.
Yeah.
Though if you're doing the snipey shenanigans, there's already a really awkward mech out there that just fits right at home, the Ice Ferret.
Yeah.
Just put on a couple of large lasers and scratch the enemy to death from miles away and give them no chance to ever get close to you.
That's happening during scouting, so yeah, true.
Sprinting away and poking in scouting is always a really risky game, though, because if the enemy team has one good light mech pilot, you're done. You are out.
Somewhat. I mean, if you're all working together, you all focus the leg of that poor light as he tries to rush forward, and you can't rush forward no more.
If for some reason the light mech decides to engage before your team starts a big brawl, then he's fucked. But say you brawl, you're down one brawler because you have a sniper. Sniper's
no,
not going to be
you
able
have
to
to
get
do a
the
whole
game
lance of
for
snipers.
DPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing one guy a solo sniper, yeah, you're leaving the team down one guy.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's the tricky part, because I don't want to encourage that behavior with the 2 ER large laser Arctic cheetahs I see every scouting match.
Yeah,
So
it's terrible that, and just take an ice ferret. Much better mech for that purpose anyway. It's faster than the Arctic cheetah, has more heat sinks to start with anyway.
So how about actually the cockpit items for them, like the cuckoo horn? You know, the cuckoo horn. Like, what do you think about that?
I spooked some people with the cuckoo warhorn, which has been good.
That's awesome. I was actually listening to that thing, and it was it didn't have cuckoo. It just has like a giant scream. But I think the Jade Falcon horn is a little bit better as far as screaming wise. But it's just unsettling when you hear some weird sound coming through your mics, as Biter and Aether Mech had to happen to me. But yeah. But jeez. So like any other.
I like
go
the
on, man.
pre-order burb, the standing item burb. It
Really?
Yeah, as a pre-order, it's got a Lanner Falcon, and it's like a little animatronic thing, and I like a burb, and it's quite tall. So when I'm zoomed in, the burb is just there in the bottom corner, bottom of my screen, just looking around. Huh? What's going on?
What, the head actually turns around?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay. Well, it's
It
just
looks
like
around and leans forward and backward a little bit.
interesting. I'll have to check that out, man. That sounds kind of neat to have inside your cover. Just like the Uzil, they have the little walking one, and that's just great. If they actually marketed that, I'm sure a lot more people would actually picked up the Uzil or the Civil War Max, saying, "Hey, this thing walks. It looks cool," type thing. But I don't know.
Yeah. So that Lanner Falcon is, I think you can buy it now for like 750 MC. So
yeah, I'll wait.
It is viewable in the store.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait till they
It's
give out for
always
free.
nice. At least they're doing unique warhorns. It's not the Phoenix warhorn recolored like it used to be back in the
God,
day.
that pissed me off, man. Jeez, I get so many of these warhorns, man, because I like those mechs, and so it's like all those warhorns, I don't even do anything with those things. Okay, so overall, the final, like 1 out of 10, like what do you guys think about the Black Lanner, and then we'll get to the challenge.
Ooh.
I think, well, I'll let Ian say his piece, but I've been quite happy with it thus far. I think the quirks it was given were a little tepid, at least in regards to the survival department. This is a mech with a limited pod space, so it needs to be able to poke and attack people many times over to get its damage done. And it's limited hard points, no. It's like the side torsos. It's if you get the energy plus missile side torso, no quirks whatsoever. If you get just the missile or energy one, it's like 5 structure. Oh my gosh, 5 structure.
Hold the phone. Yeah.
Whereas if you take no hard points, it gives you 9 armor. So taking no torso hard points is kind of nice, but it's also reinforces that needing to put everything in the arms. It's just the quirks are not making this. It does not feel enabling of some really fun, funky builds. It actually restricts the builds that I can do a lot of the times because it just isn't that generous enough. And even just 9 extra armor on the side torsos isn't a game changer. And I'm giving up all the hard points for it on the side torsos. I think it needs a little. I would prefer to give the torsos just a little bit extra survival to make this thing, a little bit more fun to play.
So out of 10?
Yeah.
I don't do out of 10s, but I think.
So yes, it's cool. No, it's not.
I mean, the thing, at least with an out of 10 in my mind, is I'm saying, well, what are the metrics are we working by here? Is a 5 out of 10 A-okay, or is it, or is it an 8 out of 10? If I,
the higher the better, I guess. Basically, or we're not gonna get it because it's gonna be a wrap around there. So like overall good and bad. It
I-
has its good, good and bad points.
I think I don't think it's any Osiris, and I don't think it's any Night Star. It has Clan Tech, it has Mask, it has ECM, it has a whole bunch of stuff going for it, and there are plenty of hard points to work with. It isn't as hard point starved as the Shadowcat. However, before anyone really tries to pick this thing up, if you haven't, you've been sitting on the fence about it.
Yeah.
I'd say I wait for it to come out for C-bills, unless you are a real big Shadowcat kind of pilot, because you really enjoy, running around with just a couple of weapon hard points, or with mask and speed and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
didn't pick
say direct comparison to the Viper. Which one's better? How about that?
Viper.
Yeah,
Easy.
I much prefer the Black Lanner, honestly.
I like the Viper though, but of
Because
course,
the Viper is a very strong mech, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
but of course, I don't
and
have the comparison to you have a Black Lanner.
They can
so,
do
like,
similar roles because they're very quick and can carry a decent amount of weaponry.
I think the Black Lanner is slightly more favored towards, range trading than the Viper. The Viper sort of a lot of times kind of wants to get stuck in.
Definitely a brawler, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the Black Lanner isn't the brawly interpretation of this kind of playstyle, and I think it does have at least more in the way of survival stuff, ironically enough. Personally, I think the Viper isn't actually that strong right now. I do not see Vipers ever really doing that well currently in the meta. They get one hit by that meta Hellbringer, and half the mech, if not the whole mech, disappears.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
In one alpha.
yeah. I decided to go and meta for a little bit, and oh my god, I just had an orgasm, like with the Hellbringer loyalty variant. By the way, the meta on
Yes,
this is crazy.
if I'm playing that fast playstyle, I prefer keeping my distance. It's what I sort of do with the Shadowcat. It's sort of what I do with the Black Lanner. And whilst I do sort of enjoy jumping in with the Viper, why am I jumping in with a Viper when there's already a Piranha out? Being a Piranha.
I thought the same thing too, like with the Cougar, using Larsh's build, which is I think two mini pulse lasers and then two like ATM 9s or 12s, like I think 9s actually. With the
Two
Prime,
2 medium laser.
yeah, basically with the Prime, have the two torso mounts basically, like for the Black Lanner. You also get like ECMs, so the only trade-off to having it is having the extra tonnage and then the ECM as well. So I might, later on, I guess, pick this up, like, I don't know when, but just to kind of test out that build and see if it works or not, like the same thing for the Cougar.
To slow you down
wait.
here slightly, the Black Lanner can take ATM 6s at max. You're not gonna fit ATM 9s in there.
You're not
really?
upgrading to a Lanner. The Lanner has less tonnage than the Cougar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot less. The Cougar is very
Yeah.
superior to the Lanner.
Okay. Okay.
You don't want to use ATMs, or at least I wouldn't advise ATMs in the Lanner, because it's got that range quirk. It's one of the few advantages going into this mech. And if you're going to play into its advantages, you want to put streaks if you're going missiles, or otherwise some laser vomit / machine guns.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why we're here, to go figure out different builds for stuff.
Yeah, so if I want to pounce something in a clan mech, I'll take a Piranha, not a Viper or a Black Lanner. If I want to snipe at longer ranges, I think Shadowcat / Black Lanners, both have their place. The thing is with the Shadowcat, on average at least, it has more pod space and lower arm actuators possibly, and more importantly than all of this, jump jets as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
true. Plus, and then the mask is on the Black Lanner, so it kind of definitely helps. But of course,
And
you have
the
it,
machine guns are unlocked behind the paywall.
Yeah, true.
Currently, yes.
Currently, yeah.
Okay,
So Black Lanner, for me, to summarize real quick, for me, it's way down with the Night Star in my personal list. I think it's even worse than the Osiris.
wow.
That's
Damn, Ian. Holy
that's
cow.
how little success I've got with this mech right now. Maybe if I warm up with it, if I find the correct build, if I get it skilled up, it's gonna be better. But right now, I think it's one of the worst mechs in the build in the
His
game.
builds are
Jeez,
crap.
damn it. That I can't build with that little pod space.
Oh my god, man. That's
so limited
crazy.
pod space. It's it's like trying to build a mislink sometimes.
I want my ATM 18. Why can't I do that?
No, this is not an ATM mech. ATM is for mechs with pod space.
Not for the Black Lanner. Yeah.
And it's a mech with range bonuses. Don't put your labs or ATMs on it. You're not looking to hit people at 1,200 meters or whatever ridiculous. you
Yeah,
can
that's the
do.
worst thing you do with it, like worms. Do it way far away. Okay.
Yeah, if someone doesn't notice that missiles are incoming by 1,200 meters, then they've got bigger issues.
And get in cover at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so now we got the Black Lanner, and basically good and bad, good points, like good points, bad points, and Ian thinks it should be put in the garbage. But so now we're gonna go to the event, which is the special event that is happening. I actually didn't read this because I don't have a Black Lanner, so I can't.
Yeah,
can't
is
say
there
much about
anything
it.
even for players who didn't buy it?
No,
No, sadly.
no. They used to do that a
That's-
long time ago, but not like anymore though, which kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, they want people to buy the Black Lanner, so you have this event. That's what you want. That's what they want you to do.
I mean, usually they'd have events for people with it and for people without it, and people with it could do both, and that would be the bonus.
but
Well,
good
they
marketing.
haven't done that for quite a while now.
Yeah, no.
As far as those who have bought the Black Lanner, it's your standard affair, at least in terms of new mech packs with the event system. Do 1,000 damage in each of the 3 standard pack, and then do 2,000 with the hero / collective variants, and etc. etc. The rewards again are fairly banal, at least for the reinforcement and standard pack. You just
Yeah.
get a whole bunch of C bills, though it helps with builds or whatever. Woo. I would say though I am much more of a fan what the collector / hero pack give. Another Warhorn and another the Franken skin rather than the Dazzle skin.
Yeah.
Way
Mhm.
better at least from BGI's perspective. Why, like, people spend twice the money on from the standard pack to get the collector's pack, and you're like, don't worry, we're going to reward you. You're going to get the Dazzle pattern. Everyone loves the Dazzle pattern. Woo.
But now we're getting to the Franken pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, Franken pattern's a lot more worth your time and investment if you're one of those people who put out the money for it. And again, with the hero, before with the hero, they gave just like 1 million C bills. Woo! I spend extra money on a C bill boosted mech to get a little more C bills, but an extra Warhorn, that's better. I'll take a Warhorn over 1 million C bills.
Maybe like
I
if
don't- you know my opinions on warhorns.
Yeah.
It's just, oh yay, this thing that makes a noise when I kill someone. Woo, that was worth my money. I want a noise to play.
Maybe you think that they'll give like
Uh.
for people that do pick up like the mechs themselves, they would actually put in the rewards for the challenges just for them, whoever picked it up. A little bit of like MC, like say 25 like MC, if 1 million C bills and 25 MC or something like that. Do you think that'd be a good idea? That would kind of give like some like incentive to actually pick up the mech itself. They're giving out something which is their own currency, and then also would actually hopefully help promote like later on the different types of packs that are out there.
A little bit of return on investment like that, like
Yeah.
actually getting, if they could give out like pitiful amounts of MC
Yeah.
compared to the actual money you spent,
10,
But-
15 or something like that, or like something small.
it would be something. I don't know. I just
Just to tell you the
personally,
truth, like if I got
I'm
this
not
van,
thrilled by cockpit items.
Yeah.
That's me. Like it's a little thing that's in the corner of the screen the entire game, and sometimes it does a little action or something like that. It's not. Some of the art on them, like some of the art on the standing items, is really good,
yeah.
but it's not a priority in any way, shape, or form to have like a cool noise plays when I kill someone, or and the worst part is the people that put them in like stealthy mechs. Say you got a stealth armor mech. Oh, I want a loud blaring noise to play when I kill someone. That's a smart idea.
I know.
Like, so, but yeah, that's just my take on it. Devil's advocate, I guess.
Well, they do give them out.
Yeah.
They give out everything for free. But I'm literally like this event though. I'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll get an extra Cuckoo Warhorn if I bought the $20 pack, so I don't have two. But in general though, like just they should do something else. Like they do give out the free pattern, which is kind of nice. Don't get me wrong. But the MC would actually be a lot better because, like you said, who cares? I mean, literally, they give out free cockpit items constantly throughout the year. and literally I have so many cockpit items. I can put them on all 175 mechs with war horns and with hanging items, no problem. In the story, big that's not a big deal. So if they actually put something like a little more incentive, like MC, where I could use that for later on, it'd be a little bit more investment for people to go and do to actually for me to actually be happy about this event, because I wouldn't care about this event to tell you the truth.
It's yeah, we're not always that keen about the new mech event things.
Yeah.
It's a nice little bonus, and
Yeah.
they've improved the nice little bonuses a bit for those who splurged out extra on collector/hero. But I think the standard pack is still very tepid. Like at least that's your gateway drug, your entry drug to any prospective whales out there. At least the hardest thing to do, at least in terms of monetizing a free-to-play game, is to get people to give to do that first purchase.
Yeah.
So if anyone is buying
That's
a new
true.
mech pack, what are they going to get? Are they going to get the whole, collection? No, they're going to get just the standard pack. They're going to get just 3 mechs. They get they wait a few months. That pack comes out. The Black Lanner is, not very well. It's kind of tepidly quirked. And oh look, if I play it a bit, I get 3 million sea bills. Woo!
Yeah.
That's not going to encourage people to really, try out getting into buying mech packs.
Maybe like
Yeah.
a special Black Lantern thing that's not available for the initial purchase. That if you complete all these different standard packages, you can go and get the special hanging Black Lantern doohickey thing, type thing, only for it if you complete it type thing. That might be kind of cool, but yeah.
Like I would say, at least anyone who has a Black Lanner right now has the standard pack,
Yeah.
and so therefore everyone who is enjoying this new mech should get something really cool. Like if you get the 1000 damage in all 3, you get the Franken pattern, and extra things like a war horn or other standing items or even MC is for those who got the extra bits. Who got the
Yeah.
extra bits from
Yeah.
the pack. That would, in my opinion at least, seems to make a lot more sense. Though I'm guessing what the mindset currently is, they want to encourage people to get the bigger packs.
Yeah.
But you want also
Mhm.
to encourage people to get the standing pack.
I mean, it's a standard marketing thing that what they're doing, which is that's how they can make money, that type of thing. So
I'd vie for patterns. I would settle for patterns, definitely. I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not like the Applejack pattern or some
Yeah.
bullshit like that doesn't actually change anything.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
speaking of pattern, the Jade Falcon pattern actually looks amazing on the Lanner, which is the one you got from pre-ordering it.
Oh,
early.
okay.
And I
Okay.
do like the burb decals. More burbs.
Verbs.
True,
Yeah,
the decals
verbs.
are really good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just give more, just cool things like camo patterns and decals. Stuff that would cost MC otherwise, and I really encourage that to be put in the standard pack as the event thing.
Yeah. Okay. So we got the pack challenge and our different views of the pack challenge. So let's get on to the elephant in the room, which is the Battletech game that is coming out. I was hearing in April that thing was coming out. Is that right?
Oh, so we are addressing that one first.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
There's no set release date, period.
Oh, okay. I got so excited when I guess someone photoshopped something like, "Oh my God, yes, this is so cool! I can't wait!" But I guess it's not coming out now. Thanks for ruining my childhood. Thanks, man. Thanks.
I'm sorry about that. Nope.
I was so excited about that. You don't understand. I posted on Twitter.
It's still to be announced,
Yeah.
so who knows? It's coming out this year, though, at least, and it's a work in progress. They've gone a lot of the way.
But we're going to talk about the question and answering on February 14th with Mitch Gittleman, Jordan Weisman, and I have his other name here. Hold on a second. His name was something I can't find my notes for.
Mike McCain.
Mike McCain, yes, Mike McCain. And as you know, Jordan Weisman was the person that actually created Battletech a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, back in 1984. Well, actually, like earlier, because obviously they built the system. But and then Mitch Gilman, like, when did Mitch Gilman come into it?
Mitch Gilman created the games Mech Commander 1 and 2. He was also a major part of all the things Faza did, so Mechwarrior 4 primarily.
Okay. Cool.
And since then, he's been working with Jordan Weisman on all the games HBS did.
Yeah.
But maybe before we get too deep into it, I should do a quick introduction what Battletech even is,
Okay,
for the people who maybe never heard of it. After all, we've been talking about Mechwarrior Online so far, and Battletech is kind of a new thing here.
Oh yeah.
So, if you ever played the game XCOM or XCOM 2, Battletech is basically gonna be that set in the Battletech universe. It's supposed to be an adaptation of the original tabletop game, which is the great-grandfather of all Mechwarrior games, so to say. And it's gonna give you a lot of really cool things to do. You've got two main modes to worry about in this game. The first one is the standard skirmish mode, as they call it, where you command a lance of battle mechs in a given scenario, potentially against a enemy lance, potentially against AI-controlled vehicles, turrets, and so on. And beyond that skirmish mode, you've got a major campaign going on, which is located in the, so to say, southern part of the inner sphere.
In the periphery.
Yeah, southern periphery. South of House Liao, if that helps you locate it. And within that campaign, you're gonna manage your mercenary lands. You're gonna be responsible for making sure you don't run out of money. You're gonna manage your contracts, your salvage, your crew. You're gonna train your mech pilots. You're gonna build up your mechs. You're gonna configure your mechs for the missions. You're gonna make sure that all of your mechs are repaired, ready to go. And as I've said, that you don't run out of money. So that's game Battletech. The game is produced by Hairbrain Schemes, which is a small team located in Seattle. As Bob mentioned, they are led by Jordan Weissman, who is the mastermind behind both Battletech and Shadowrun.
Yeah.
And they're going to be published by Paradox Interactive, which is a Stockholm-based game publisher. You might know them for games like Stellaris, Hearts of Iron, and a couple more Grand strategy games. And in my opinion, they're currently one of the best game publishers out there. So I'm super excited about that pairing. And yeah.
Oh, hold on. Okay, never mind. Sorry, go ahead. I actually read this guy's name as Mitch Gilliman for some reason. I don't know. Go ahead. Michael Murphy.
All right, so I mean, to give my little perspective on it, it's I came into Mechwarrior Online somewhat tangentially through this Battletech game through the Kickstarter, because Hairbrain Schemes, I backed their Shadowrun games back in the day, and they produced quite good results from those backs, the Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm.
So I backed the Battletech Kickstarter, and I was like, oh, okay, and what's this Battletech universe? And I looked into it and found out about Mechwarrior Online.
Yeah,
I would say generally these guys,
it's cool.
they give a good, like, at least it's funny looking at the contrast between them and Mechwarrior Online in terms of PR.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We did a big recommendation. I still recommend if anyone hasn't seen it before. At MechCon, they did a match of Battletech, and it's like it's the same old game we've seen before. We've seen Skirmish plenty of times, but they just put so much energy into that encounter, into beating the crap out of each other.
Exactly.
It was a joy to behold, and I think also at least they do a Q&A every month. Where they answer a set list of questions and then questions from the audience. And they're always very forward with things of the scope of the game. They will say no to features. They will tell people what their vision is, etc., or it will be announced. Like, they're very firm in their convictions about the game and letting people know how they're trying to address it.
Well, they're very passionate too. Basically, that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
They love BattleTech. I mean, it's almost as well. I'm about halfway to what they love, and they have a lot of passion of what BattleTech is, and it's just great that they actually a game company and people who actually design the game itself onto a platform of PC games are building a game that they have so much passion about. They're willing to put that effort into the game itself.
It is almost like they're led by someone who founded the Battletech universe.
I know, huh? I know.
No, it's funny. If you watch the thing in MechCon, just because he founded Battletech doesn't mean he's good.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't have the slightest idea how to play his own game. He sucks at a game.
Yeah, but they have so much charisma, and they're very open about approaching the community and talking with the community, and they're very firm in their convictions.
Oh yeah.
That at least in terms of a PR standpoint, they're very good at selling themselves to an audience to get people to give them. How much was in that back? The Kickstarter for BattleTech.
I
You
spent
can
60
get
hundreds
bucks
of
the
for it,
game
thousands.
so.
for $25.
Yeah, I
And
spent 60.
how much did they raise?
Oh,
Oh god,
they
like
got
4 million, I think. 4 or 5 million.
4,500,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they raised millions.
I
With
thought it
their
was
pitch.
2.7,
No,
if I remember
no.
correctly.
And they needed like a certain amount to go ahead and do like certain aspects of it, and almost instantly their Kickstarter jumped. I mean, just incredibly.
Yeah,
like,
they asked for 250K and got like 2.7 million, if I remember correctly.
and they need
Oh,
more.
Yeah,
too.
it's 2.7, 2.8, and then there's stuff, the funding afterwards as well,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
So by being able to sell yourself to an audience, they got themselves a crap ton of money, donated from the community to
Mhm.
make this thing a reality. And there's a lot of positive buzz around this. They're constantly doing updates, and it's the game looks like at least it's progressing fairly well. And that's just at least the key thing. At least when talking about Mechwarrior Online, when we had like the quote unquote unfunding and that podcast, and the guy is so closed and closeted. He doesn't, and they don't even really even in these Q&As of BattleTech, they don't really discuss that much.
Yeah.
But they say a lot of, they draw a lot of clear lines to the people. They give indication of where they're going. Whereas in the unfunding of Mechwarrior Online, that podcast of No Guts, No Galaxy, it was an hour and a half of no comment.
Yeah, I know.
Almost.
Party
But-
strikes are where they need to be.
Okay,
Shut
go
up.
Yeah.
ahead, and go ahead, let me say your piece.
Oh.
Well,
Okay. So I get to play devil's advocate. I heard about Harebrained Schemes not from Shadowrun or their previous games. I heard about them because of Necropolis. Now, Necropolis, for those who don't know, was sort of this interesting dungeon crawler, high difficulty permadeath game that drew a lot of attention at E3 and a bunch of other conventions, and was promised a lot of new content that it never received. It actually came out last year. It received 5 patches, if I remember what I counted correctly, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then in September, they just completely dropped it. No more new content, no DLC, no anything. They just dropped it. And I assume it's because they dropped it to work on Battletech, which was, their real passion. But that's still not something that I can easily let go, is the fact that they just ditched a community because it wasn't working. And it's a weird business practice. I was noticing a couple of people on the Battletech boards actually really early on were just really salty Necropolis players saying like, don't buy this game, they're just going to do this thing. But
Oh no, I don't think they will.
to give, like, I believe they have a lot more passion for this than they did for Necropolis, even though, again, it's sketchy business practice, but it's a skeleton in the closet I can accept.
Well, that's
It's
probably like what it is.
interesting. Now, I don't know like the whole story with Necropolis. I only followed mostly Shadowrun, and Necropolis sort of came, out of nowhere. And as far as I'm aware, at least, the Shadowrun games, they crowdfunded. They got a bunch of money, and they turned out products that were pretty good for the most part. I
Mhm.
think obviously it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and they are still a small indie studio, so it's not some amazing AAA production. It was quite clunky to start with. Completely linear storyline. It's not some big open world role playing experience, but
Well,
I
it was
think
one of those games that got the No Man's Sky treatment, where it got treated like a AAA game title release, even though it wasn't one.
Yeah.
yeah.
It got
From my
Go on.
perspective, at least, someone who backed the Shadowrun ones after buying the first one, yeah, I was happy with what they promised and what they delivered. And Necropolis, I think, was all funded in-house.
That might be why they dropped it then.
It could be. I mean, I would say, obviously they get a huge amount of money, or at least a relatively large amount of money from these Kickstarters. And with the Kickstarters, they usually say, in-house, even if you don't fund us, we'll do something like, we'll just do the skirmish game in Battletech. But you funding us will mean we'll be able to do a big, we'll do a campaign, basically.
Yeah.
And we'll do PvP multiplayer type stuff.
Well, yeah.
So they promised to expand on the game. So with Battletech, if they didn't do the Kickstarter, what would have come out would have been just the skirmish game. It might have already been out, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but you play it a couple of times, and then you're done with the game, really. And that's sort of at least my impression, perhaps, with Necropolis, that because they didn't kickstart it, they didn't get so much money to start with. And when it comes, they release it, and it doesn't get, it's like got 50%, around 50 score on Metacritic. It's tepidly reviewed. A lot of people aren't picking it up. Why put in more development resources into this, into the dud?
Well, I mean, again, it's good. It's good business practice. I'm gonna give you that. It's very good business practice. But how much you can trust a company that does something like that? It's sort of, I guess, ethical practice of you have a community that put $30 a piece into this game, and you're just gonna ditch them because, oh shoot, we can't do as much, we can't make as much money as we want out of it, so we're done. We're not going to continue it. We're not going to patch as many bugs as we wanted to, and we're just going to leave that shit in and kind of give up. It's still not something I can approve of.
Well, I would need more details on what was promised, when it was promised, how it was promised, what they actually delivered. Obviously, like a buggy game, I could totally agree with as being something you shouldn't ship as a final product. I think
the game
also,
was that not bugged though, right? Like when it came out.
So every game
it
has
had
bugs
a
when
long
it comes
early
out. It had a
access
decent
period or
amount.
something as well, didn't it? I'm not sure.
So I did not follow Necropolis at all because I am not interested in the kind of game. But from what I've gathered is the game was really well received early on.
Yeah.
Then they kind of dropped it mostly because of money issues, because HBS is a small indie developer that's running really close to Rogue all the time. And at that point, they basically left a game that's okay, but not quite where they wanted it to be. And
I know myself,
honestly, I understand Lemming's point, but I can also really understand HBS, and I don't see that much of an issue here. So
I mean, like, what would you do if PGI went, okay, we're not selling enough mech packs, we're done patching MWO, we're working on MW5?
Well, it's been out since 2013, so pretty much I got my fill of the game itself, and they're working on Mechwarrior 5. So, and then Battletech's coming out. So I guess.
I mean, let's say if they did it, they claimed it right now. I think at least I would say, wait, you're going to just release Solaris?
Well, I mean, okay, ignore that.
No, okay.
For the sake of this argument, they didn't post a roadmap. Let's pretend that they didn't, and all of a sudden, when they're supposed to schedule the roadmap, they just say, we're not making enough money off of this. Server costs are getting bad, and we want to move on to Mechwarrior 5. Wouldn't you be a little bit upset that they just dropped MWO after you put all that time in there?
I'll be upset, yeah. But okay, if there's no Battletech game coming out, if there's no,
Battletech is still coming out. MW5 is still coming out. They're just PGI itself is moving from MWO to MW5.
So to kind of pull the argument around here, yes, I would absolutely be pissed at PGI. I would still be hyped about Mechwarrior 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are two independent things for me. And since Mechwarrior 5 is promised mod support, I'm not too worried about long-term support for Mechwarrior 5.
Now, I think at least a little bit my opinion is that these are very different types of games. One of them is a live service. It's you're constantly playing Mechwarrior Online, grinding currency. It's a free-to-play game, etc., quote unquote. but Necropolis, of course, it's got a relatively large barrier to entry in
Mhm.
terms of you have to put down a fair amount of dosh to get the game, and there's a lot of people who put down a lot of dosh when it's in early access because it seemed to promise a lot of potential. And ultimately, though, the devs spent a bit of time on it, but in the end they didn't deliver what everyone sort of envisioned. And a corollary I would say would be perhaps you hear there's a new big tentpole game coming out, a new Total War, and you spend that $60 and it comes out and it's even worse than the other Total Wars that have been coming out lately.
Well, I know, like like I do have a biased opinion. Don't get me wrong, because I'm a total HBS freakoid. But the whole thing is though that I mean, with their track record with Shadowrun, with different games that they have, and the hype they have for BattleTech and the creators of BattleTech themselves back in 1984, I don't. I'm willing to put that aside as far as like Necropolis, because I mean,
Yeah.
every game company has like the one, shit game that they had that doesn't do well, that had no sales, and so they dropped it like, and like a hot potato.
I mean, I'm willing to put it aside because it's a completely different genre
Yeah.
from, I guess, their comfort zone, and they
Different
tried
genre
something
and,
new, and it didn't work very
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Like
And
every company has that hot potato, man. Like PGI, then they actually produce like other different games that just like were shit, type thing.
Actually, I
So-
don't know what else PGI has produced. I don't think so.
I would say at least I'm not too much concerned, at least since it is it's a different type of game, sure, but it's also just they try to publish it a different way, whereas at least BattleTech is being published, the funded at least a similar way to the Shadowrun games, and those have been for the most part I
Yeah.
think fairly good successes.
Okay, so
okay.
so we got Necropolis. Let's do this quick question and answer type thing that we talked about for like February 14th. Okay, so they had a question answering on No Guts in the Galaxy, and Mitch Gilman, Jordan Weissman, and Mike McCain were there. So let's I did take some notes, and multiplayer, unfortunately, everyone, will not be coming out when they launch. It'll probably be coming out later on. So unfortunately, you can't have those grudge matches against like
Nope,
YouTubers and
wrong.
stuff like that. What?
Well, the multiplayer mode is already done. The multiplayer mode has been in beta in like last year.
Oh, okay.
What we're not gonna get is a one mech versus one mech Solaris mode on a
Oh,
specific map.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I heard that
Multiplayer
wrong.
will
Then.
be in.
Okay.
Period.
There's also Linux support will be delayed.
Yeah, Linux support. The assassin game, it is done but needs some polish, so they're still working on it. They just getting some bugs done, load times, content, like etc. There was an answer about or a question about jump jets on mechs, and yes, you will be able to customize your mechs. They don't have quirks. They decided to actually go ahead and scrap those, but in the initial development of the game itself, they were going to have quirks and individual things for pilots, like specialties and stuff like that, but they decided to scrap that. But they do have skills, but not like some other type of like different things. Jump in anytime, guys. So the Warhammer Marauder and Raven will not be in the initial release. They're working on Central Warfare, but the Black Knight and the Catapult K2 is in. That's Mitch Gittleman's favorite mech.
Now, there's they did demo. They showed demos
Yeah.
like with the Marauder and such before, but I think there's a certain lawsuit or whatever going on, things being seen or
F
unseen.
them and the horse that
Still,
rode
A
down.
certain thing we're
with
not gonna
Harmony
talk
Gold.
about because we would all get way too upset. So
Harmony
let's move
Gold,
on.
F you mofos. Demonetized. Okay. Okay. I fucking hate those guys. Okay, so yeah, to the mechs, iconic mechs of BattleTech are the Warhammer and of Warhammer are the Warhammer and the Marauder basically. So okay, you can have 4 Atlases if you want to in your drop deck. The only problem is to upkeep them and purchase them are an arm and a freaking leg. So that's one thing you gotta really like understand about the about building your lances is you can do it, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Weapon variants. And when I heard this, I was screaming at my computer yelling, going, yes, yes. And my wife thought I was having sex with the computer and sticking it into the hard drive or something. But I was like, yes. Manufacturers, there's stock, uncommon, and rare by the manufacturer. So every star system has different stuff depending on the house and tech level of the system. But weapon variants, yeah, TMI, sorry. So weapon variants will have like a plus, plus plus, or plus plus plus. So you could pick those, like say the LRM will have a plus will be uncommon, then plus plus will be rare, and then then goes up like from there type thing. So that's really cool, and I think they should implement that in normal Mechwarrior. See,
To really quick give some context here, though. So basically, those pluses mean certain stats of the weapon will be better, but in return, other stats will be worse. It's never gonna be weapon from manufacturer X is better than everything else. It's always gonna be a trade-off.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're given a specialty based on the location you buy it from.
Yeah, longer range,
it's not
less
like
heat, that type of
Fortnite,
stuff.
where one is straight up better. It's a trade-off.
Yeah,
that's good.
So
I would like that.
Oh yeah, I mean they should have implemented this in normal Mechwarrior, which would have been great, but they didn't. But stock forces are only exceptions with the bosses. I don't know what my note is on that. So, but a lot of the mechs were poorly maintained. So you will fight forces that might have the armor right torso is really screwed up, because back in 3025 they really didn't have a lot of manufacturing aspects, and it was cost effective just to run them out the battlefield and have go have fun with them type thing. Salvage. Here's one of the main things that they did talk about salvage, which is going to be just great, and a great aspect of the game is negotiating your contract. One of the things you can have is when you negotiate your contract, you can have priority mech parts, and then you'll get less C-bills, but yet you'll have priority mech salvage. So when you do when you're on the battlefield itself, you get mech salvage, and it goes into a big pot, and you get to pick which mech salvage you want to have. So say like you have 2 parts of a Wolverine, you need another part, there's a salvage like on there, you get to pick that, and you pick that, then you make 3 mech parts, make 1 mech, so you get to build a Wolverine now. So that's one of the great things you got to do for negotiating your contracts when you go and do these contracts. The other, and then the rest of the stuff is just random mech salvage you'll be getting for your contracts themselves. I don't know if you want to like chime in on this. No?
I don't have much to chime in, since the Q&A is just like the others, where they talk about little details here and there, and it's all subject to change.
It's basically, if I'm gonna start talking about salvage, we're gonna be sitting here for another 2 hours at least.
That's why at least in regards to covering it to the audience, those who are interested about Battletech, I would encourage you to go look at the Kickstarter, their introductory video, look at all the updates and other Q&As if you really must, but just the updates, seeing how they've been trucking along, really. I think the biggest thing, the biggest demo is just what they did in MechCon, honestly.
I just have a couple more points, and that's it. Ammo is free, so basically you get to repair it. Repairs cost time and money. You get to customize your mechs with hard points, which is kind of cool.
Ammo is free, but basically the ammo bins are what can get damaged or destroyed. So if your bin gets destroyed, then
you got to purchase another ammo thing. Time is used to control and restrain yourself in game. So like that was a great question. I don't know who actually did that, but like normally games have a balance type thing to restrict you from becoming uber, the most biggest Mechwarrior, lance in the whole history of mankind. So they use time to go ahead and control you as a balance, and that's kind of cool. I definitely like that.
I mean, there's only a couple of ways they could really control the player anyway. But yes, the campaign is about controlling your own mercenary unit. It's kind of like being your own PMC. You've got a squadron of tanks, or a couple of tanks or whatever, and the whole point is obviously you look after your tanks, well, in this case, battle mechs, and naturally, of course, you don't start off with 4 70-ton Abram tanks or 4 Atlases. You have to actually save up and work to get them, find them. You need to find the chassis, etc., etc. And obviously, earning money, building the company up is going to take time and money to achieve.
And you can go bankrupt, so you definitely have to watch out on that. And the major thing is no quads ever. So just let you know, like Ian, no quads. So
all right. Any hexapods? Are there going to be
Hexapods? No,
hexapods in the
I
game?
don't think there's hexapods.
Well, we need to ask that. We need to keep badgering them about hexapods.
Oh, okay, next time do a question and answer, we'll go and ask about hexapods then. So they do
Just keep going up and up and up the number of limbs.
yeah. And plus they also did redo the camera system and plus the animations for the punching, fall downs, and everything else. I think Holly did what they're saying, like an atlas, like kind of like hitting a mech on the head with his fist. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, and so that's the different question and answer. We went through that real quick to spend a little bit more time on the Black Lanner, but also this podcast will be for the for Battletech as well, and then also Mechwarrior 5. So just let everyone know as well too. So anything else, guys? Chirp chirp.
Not particularly. I think
Okay.
at least if the first time you ever heard about Battletech, certainly check out the Kickstarter, check out the MechCon video. That's a much better introduction than us talking about the Q&A.
All of them
If you
down
guys
below.
are interested in the quick brief notes that Bob has given on the Q&A, be sure to check it out on No Guts, No Galaxy's YouTube channel.
Yep.
Those
and a link.
Q&As are
If I
worth your
may do
time
a
if you're
quick
really
thing,
into the game.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
if you think Battletech sounds interesting, go to battletechgame.com and you can still buy into it.
Yes.
Also, Battletech on the website community.battletechgame.com, you're gonna find the forums for Battletech. There are a lot of really amazing, really cool people there that
Yeah.
I love to interact with, and yeah, we'd be
That
happy to
is
welcome.
battletechgame.com.
That is
And what's that?
battletechgame.com.
Battletechgame.com.
Battletech what again?
Battletechgame.com.
Quadmex.com.
Quadmex. Ooh, okay, I gotta purchase that site now. Damn it.
I love that they're trying to start their own I guess meme out of that, the battletechgame.com, and that's just good PR.
Oh,
that is
God,
all
yeah.
what that
They've
is.
started plenty of memes. The
They
best one
have-
is
yeah.
always in success, all things are possible.
Yeah.
And focus equals quality.
Focus is yes, that's what they explained in the beginning because they wanted to do like either of the
Well, they keep reiterating those points. That's basically, just take any question and give those kind of
Focus
stock
equals quality.
responses as an answer, and that is how the Q&As roll.
Yes.
exactly.
Battletechgame.com.
Battletechgame.com.
Though I will say, at least having those mantras does give a sense of confidence,
yes.
in their direction. And I agree, that is totally what you should do. You don't want to say yes to every feature. You want
No.
to say, no, we need to be focused. We have to get this thing out at some point, etc., etc.
Yeah, and the passion they have for the game, and that you just know that the game is going to have a lot of heart in the game itself. Just like the Shadowrun games, they did a really good job on those, and they have a lot of passion, so it's going to be good. And I have faith in Harebrained Schemes. That tells you a lot because I've been playing games for freaking 300 years, and basically that me to have faith in a company is a good thing. It's a good thing.
I mean, my own perspective, at least, like from the Shadowrun games, was they have some very brilliant writing, and that's
Yeah,
what I really liked about them. Now, the gameplay systems in the Shadowrun games were acceptable, and
I like them.
Necropolis, which was a game all about gameplay, was kind of a dud. At least that's what we've been discussing. So I'll be interested to see, at least since Battletech Game are being, it's all about being your own mercenary company. There is a campaign, there is a linear storyline, but it's not so much about the dialogue, it's more about the gameplay mechanics. So I am still skeptical a little bit about necessarily the sheer amount of polish that they can put into their gameplay mechanics.
Of course.
So, I mean, it's a wait and see, really, for the mercenary campaign. I think it will be, just like the Shadowrun games, at least it'll be okay. However, if it will be extremely awesome or whatever, that has to be wait and see.
I'm sorry.
Let's
I'm sorry.
put it
Lore.
like this. Okay, Bob.
Lore.
Lore. Yeah,
Lore. Lore. Thank
so
God.
basically, we should kind of wrap it up
Yeah,
because we suck at wrapping up. So my last point, what we've seen so far in the Battletech beta would already been worth $50 to me.
Oh yeah,
so
me too.
I am super hopeful, and with that, someone should do an outro.
Okay, who wants to do the outro then? Oh, that's good. I'll do it. Okay, so everybody, thank you for attending the First Circuit Podcast number 28. We do appreciate you guys here. Definitely know that. I will have this on SoundCloud as soon as probably I get off here, and then I got to do some stuff to it and crap like that. So SoundCloud will be up pretty soon. I'll have links down below, and then also I'll have all the links for what we talked about inside the podcast, so you can get a feel of like do your own assumptions of what you want to go ahead and like decide like what everything is. And oh, by the way, it's hold on, what's the site again? Battletech what?
Battletechgame.com.
Battletechgame.com. Okay, so battletechgame.com. Check it out. They do still have the Kickstarter. It's coming out soon. I hope. Please, God, please let this game come out soon. And like everything else, you're gonna see unfortunately, you're gonna see I'll just talk about it like later. Okay, so anyways, thank you for attending, and we have Larsh. No, I'm sorry. Oh, damn it.
No, we don't.
I get so come on, I
No,
miss Larsh. I miss Larsh. So we have Biter.
Bye, guys.
We have Commander Lamine,
Bye.
Ian,
Goodbye.
and we have old Bob 10025. Thank you guys. You guys are what we do appreciate you guys like watching. You are the community. So you guys have a good night, and I'll see you on the battlefield.